Hey crafters, in this vid I'm going to show you how to take a little bit off the top of your adventures and the side and the bottom and the middle, whichever unfortunate body part they happen to get in the way of this. So let's go to the table and I'll show you how to make that buzzsaw trap. Hey crafters, our weapon of choice, cardstock. And for the blade I'm going to use a washer, and it's an 1 and an 1/8. I'm going to use that to measure the blade for the buzzsaw. So I'll just put it on the edge there. I'm getting the circle, the middle of the circle to measure. And so I've got that. I'm using some smaller washers also doing the same technique. And I'm going to make 2 of those. Those are going to be on the edge of the blade for support. And those are 3/4 of an inch washers. So now I've got those done. Now I'm going to add the blades, or the tongs to the blade, and I'll just pull up and pop back down to the circle, and that'll give me a nice saw blade look. So there we go. Now I just need to cut these out. So I'll just grab my regular scissors and just cut all those out. So yeah, the smaller circles will be support for the blade, and then I'll cut the blade out itself, and be careful to get to notch all those sharp areas there to make it look like a blade, and be careful when you're cutting it out. You don't want to cut too far into the circle or anything, so just pop all those little pieces out, and just take your time with it, and make sure you get a nice saw blade there. Yeah, it's going to be really nice. So there we go, we got our saw blade. Now I've got my pieces, and I'm going to glue the smaller pieces to the larger saw blade. And like I said, this will give it support and strength. So I'm going to use white glue. It'll stick very nicely to this, and it won't be as messy as hot glue. So there we go. Got that right on there, and we'll let her dry up, and I'll be set for the next step. Okay, now I want to measure a strip of 1/4 of an inch cardstock. So I'll just use my ruler and quickly measure that out. And there we go, all set. Then cut it out. Now this will be the edge of the blade, where the blade comes out of the floor. So, alright. Now I'm going to use a very thin cardboard, and I want to use this for the base. Okay. So I'm going to use the blade and measure the length of the blade so I know how long to make the base. And then I'll just cut that out. Measure and cut that out. And that'll give me a nice base. So now I've got my blade, the 1/4 of an inch strip, and the thin cardboard base. Okay. So what I'll do first is I'll attach the strip to the base, and put some glue on there. And I'll measure that out. Attach it. And then I'll put the blade on, put some glue on the blade, and then I'll put another strip. So let's mark that off. Put it on there. And so now I've got my blade that looks like it's coming out of the floor. So pretty cool, and all super cheap materials. Okay, so now it's all dried up. I'm just going to cut it. Just going to cut it with scissors, and it's good to go. So there we are. Now I want to reinforce it a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some white glue on it and use a wet brush and just kind of swish it around on the craft itself, and that'll harden up and give it this little bit of strength. So I always like to do that with the cardboard stuff. So there we go. I've got the edge, but you can see the corrugation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill the corrugation in with white glue. And when you got the corrugation that's so small like this, it's pretty easy to fill it in with the white glue. So just go around, fill that in. I'm also going to reinforce the bottom, and just let that dry on my plastic plate there. Okay, now I've spray painted it black, and I've got my colors. These are the colors I generally use for my stone texture, or my stone colors. It's a coffee, a burnt umber, and a gray. And so I've just mixed those a bit, and I'm just stippling those on with a sponge So that'll mix it, that'll blend into the floor of my other terrain. And then I'm going to paint with a lighter gray kind of the edges of this to kind of make it pop. So I'll just go around where the blade comes out of the floor and a little bit around the edge and that kind of thing. And I'll just add some little bit of stippling inside where, you know, the highlights of this stone itself. So there we go. We'll let that dry up. Alright, here's my blade, or my floor. Now I've got to do my blade. So I'm going to use gunmetal and just start filling that in. So, yeah, give it a nice metal look from cardstock to metal. Yeah. And for the last trick, I'm going to use a rusty brown to add some rust to this blade, just to make it look even more vicious. So yeah, just fill that in. And there we go. So we got that all set. Now I want to do a little bit of highlight with black on where the blade meets the other piece of cardboard. So I'll just trace a line on there around where the two meet, and then I'll kind of differentiate them and also put some in that crevice where the blade came out of. So there we go. Nice blade, and let's look at it at the table. Sweet. So our intrepid adventurers have opened a room, come in, and there's a pile of gold. They can't believe their luck. They're swimming in the gold. They're like, ah, we're rich, ah ha ha. But then the door closes, and a gate comes down. And next, oh no, the treasure was an illusion. So they're not real happy about that. But then there's worse. They hear a buzzing sound, and rotary blades start to come out of the floor. Uh-oh, and they're pointed right at the characters. So zoom across the floor. The first character fails save, eviscerated by the blade. Comes at Roderick. He dodges easily, of course. And the poor mage can't dodge either, gets eviscerated, sliced to shreds. Roderick's alone again. Well, and then the blades can come back and chase poor Roderick around the room. So fun, fun, fun. So let's take a closer look at the blade, and you can see those are just super simple to make and just really look great on the table. Just all out of cardstock and cardboard, a little bit of paint and some rust on there, and they're just some very wicked blades. So there it is, the buzzsaw trap. Hey crafters, I hope you like the coffin vids. Make sure to give your Scotty a like if you did. Also, make sure to subscribe and share. And join my Facebook and forum group. We got a ton of great people with cool ideas in both groups. And last but not least, go forth and craft.
Skedaddle and feed, don't fail me now!